Okay guys, so this is just to show a quick sample of how to wet sand something. So it's about exactly what it sounds like. So you just get a little bit of water on your sandpaper and on wherever it is you're wanting to sand. And you pretty much just go along and sand, and the water kind of keeps all the stuff that you're sanding off from being dusty. And so you just want to sand pretty good, just enough to kind of smooth it out. I've done a little bit on this already, but you can see there's a couple little spots where some dirt got on it. And you can see it's kind of messy. Gets a little bit of dirt there. But what happens as you do it is it gets it nice and smooth. Just smooths that gloss paint out just a little bit more before you polish it. We'll do that as the next step. But you see this is pretty simple. You just want to make sure you get everything. And as you do more, you'll kind of get an idea of when it's smooth enough. And then let's say after you've done it, you can just grab a paper towel, just dry all that off, get all that water off of there, and you can start to see how it's getting pretty shiny. Not quite shiny enough, but pretty shiny. And so here's a little more. This is a 2000 grit sandpaper, and so you can see that it just makes it nice and smooth. And then we'll polish it up as the next step. So I spent 3 or 4 hours polishing each foot, and now it's time to do a second coat. So they're really, really, really shiny, but I'm going to make them. After a second coat of paint, another time rubbing it with the rubbing compound. I'm using an old shirt this time. I'm buffing it out, trying to get all that stuff off. It doesn't come off dry. You can spray a little water and kind of wipe off all the little residue that's left. And then after you do the whole thing with the rubbing compound, which takes a couple of hours, you go back and hit it all with this polishing compound again. So this is after the second coat again, using an old shirt. And this comes out, makes it really, really, really shiny. And if you put a thick enough coat of paint on and you use enough of this and rub it for a long time, you can get a very, very, very shiny finish on it. You gotta rub on it for a couple of minutes a couple of minutes for every square inch. I'm going to probably try doing this later with a Dremel. I'll show that at some point too. It's really, really shiny. So I wanted to do a quick demonstration of how polishing can make something shinier. So I haven't polished this, at least this top coat on this side, and you can see it's very nice. It's white, kind of glistens and stuff. On this half, I've polished it with the rubbing compound, and you can see it's shinier. It's probably hard to see, but in some of these areas that are curved, if you compare them to this side, you see you can't really see much of the highlights there. A little bit, but not very much. But over here, you can see it. Let's see, much better. It's like it's a sharper reflection, which is shinier. And then in this upper corner, right in here, I've actually done even more polishing. And let's see if I can get the light on there. So this area right here, I've polished it with the polishing compound then too. Just rub on there with like a cloth or paper towel and just keep rubbing for several minutes, which is hard to do because after about 10 seconds you're like, well, I've done that. But you got to keep going for just a couple of minutes. And you can see that's just really, really glossy right on that corner. Whereas it's a little less glossy on the rest of it. And on this side, it's now, like, looking back at it, you're like, oh, well, that's hardly glossy at all. So this is white glossy paint, just kind of standard sprayed on, rubbing polish, rubbing compound polished, and then after that, polishing compound, which is much finer. So that's kind of what you can get done with those things.